Cool. Hey, come on in. So, um, if you, Tina, I'm sure you've probably seen this one. If you were with Jessica at all, this is one of her favorite videos.
And I've never.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, right. Sorry, that's Chris. But yeah, this is one of her favorite videos. Right now, with the way the market is, I think this is a pretty important one. They're talking about Fred the Mailman. This is an example of the ultimate in customer service. This guy is just freaking awesome. So yeah, this is all about an example of how to treat your clients, especially in the way the market's going these days. So this is gonna be a really good one. Oh, wrong one.
I moved to Denver, Colorado back in 1987. In 1988, I bought a house in an town called Washington Park. Bought an old 1928 bungalow. Now, I was single at the time, living alone. I did not get married until I was 37 years old. By the way, if you're older and never been married, do you not get really tired of people asking you that stupid question? How come you're 35, never been married? How come you're 36, never been married? Let me give you a way to respond to those people to shut them up. When people would say to me, how come you're 35, never been married? I used to say, I'm just not ready to make that 2 to 3 year commitment.
What?
You can't see the screen.
Oh, okay.
They never asked again.
Let's try. What happened?
You just go to the share screen at the bottom, and then your little dots and it pops up.
Oh, wrong one. No, that's fine.
Like when you go down, you know how,
Oh, wait, wrong.
you know where it says share screen? I
Yeah.
don't know where you put it.
Oh, there. Oh, I thought it was. Good grief. There we go.
And are you sharing sound?
Yeah.
Okay.
Try it again.
See, I moved to Denver, Colorado back in 1987. In 1988, I bought a house in an area of town called Washington Park. Bought an old 1928 bungalow. Now, I was single at the time, living alone. I did not get married till I was 37 years old. By the way, if you're older and never been married, do you not get really tired of people asking you that stupid question? How come you're 35, never been married? How come you're 36, never been married? Let me give you a way to respond to those people to shut them up. When people would say to me, how come you're 35, never been married? I used to say, I'm just not ready to make that 2 to 3 year commitment. They never asked again. However, when I got married, my wife Darla said, don't ever tell that joke again, and I don't. But I used to. And so I'm single, I'm living alone in my new old house there in Washington Park. I've been there about 2 days. There's a knock on the front door. I open the front door, and standing there is a relatively short fellow, about 5'1", 5'2", 105 pounds, pencil-thin mustache, blue uniform, carrying a bag. He says, good morning, Mr. Sanborn. My name is Fred. I am your postman. I just stopped by to say welcome to the neighborhood and introduce myself and find out a little bit about you and what you do for a living. Now, I've been receiving mail all of my adult life. I can't ever recall getting a personal introduction to my postal carrier, but I thought it was a nice touch. I said, Fred, thanks for stopping by. I said, I am a professional speaker. I do not have a real job. Fred said, well, that's important for me to know. If you're a speaker, you probably travel a lot. I said, yeah, I'm on the road a couple hundred days a year. He said, great. If you'll just give me your calendar so that I know when you're in town. I'll hold your mail for you, I'll bundle it, and I'll only deliver it on the days that you're here to receive it. Now, I never had a choice of a la carte mail service before either. I said, Fred, that's probably not necessary. I've got a box nailed right here by the door on the side of the house. Why don't you just leave the mail in the box? I'll pick it up when I get back into town. Fred said, oh, Mr. Sanborn, let me point out in this neighborhood, as in most, when your box is full of mail, the burglars know you're out of town and you might be robbed. He said, here's what I'd recommend instead. He said, I'll be glad to put mail in your box as long as the lid closes. That way nobody will know that you're gone. Any mail that doesn't fit in your box, I'll put in between the screen door and the front door. Nobody can see it there. And if that area becomes too full of mail, I'll hold the rest of your mail for you until you come back into town. Now, Fred is more worried about my mail than I am. But I figure he is the postal professional. I say, okay, Fred, let's try that. couple weeks later, I'm coming back from a trip. Now, as I'm unlocking the front door, I notice my doormat is missing. My front porch is half the size of this riser. I look around on my front porch, I see my doormat's in the corner, but it's covering something. Here's what had happened. UPS had misdelivered a box of mine 5 doors down, left my box on somebody else's porch. Lucky for me, Fred the postman was on the job. Fred saw my box on the wrong porch, picked up this heavy box, carried it down to my porch, put it in the corner, wrote a personal note of explanation on it, then tried to disguise it with a doormat so nobody would take it. Not only is Fred delivering the mail, now he's picking up slack for UPS. First time I told this story in LA, a guy comes up at the end of the speech. He said, now be honest, were you talking about the United States Postal Service? Or does Denver have their own? I said, no, unbelievably, this is the USPS. That first Christmas, 1988, I leave a little gift in the box for Fred. I'm grateful for his tremendous service. Next day that mail gets delivered, I have an unusual letter in my mail. See, the letter has a stamp on it, but the stamp's not canceled. I see from the return address, the letter is from Fred Shea, my postal carrier. See, Fred lives in North Glen. I lived in Denver. Fred knows it is a felony to put unposted mail in a box. So even though he carried the letter from his house to my house, he still put a stamp on just to keep it legal. So after I cut the stamp off, I read the letter. The letter says, Dear Mr. Samwin, thank you for remembering me at Christmas. I'm flattered that you talk about me in your speeches and seminars. I hope I can continue to provide exceptional service. Sincerely, Fred the postman. Now let's fast forward the clock. 1995, I met my wife, Darla. We got married. 1997, we were expecting our first child, so we moved down to the suburbs, Highlands Ranch. But for almost 10 years, Fred Shea delivered my mail, later her mail as well. And it wasn't until I wrote the book that I ever had a chance to ask Fred the question, why do you do it? See, he does not get paid more. There is no compensation, no incentive for above average performance. He does not come to nice venues like this for meetings. As a matter of fact, for years, I was afraid that if the Postal Service found out what he was doing, they'd make him stop. And I asked Fred, at the end of the book, there are 6 things that motivate Fred. I said, Fred, why do you do what you do? He said, I lay in bed at night and I only worry about one thing. Figure that's pretty good. And there's a lot of things I worry about when I lay in bed at night, look at that little red dot in the smoke detector on the hotel ceiling. Fred said, the only thing I worry about when I lay in bed at night is, did I waste any of the day I just finished? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to summarize everything I know from 20 years being in this business, talking about these principles. Everything I have built my business, my career, my life on can be summarized in this simple idea I will share with you, I share in the book, and that is this: fear nothing but to waste the present moment.
So yeah, one of those short but powerful. And that's a really good one. So I'd like to hear what y'all think about that one. To think about the fact that this guy's mailman was so out of the ordinary that it became a topic to this guy's, speaking to his job, his career, his speaking career. It became a story, and that's kind of powerful. So yeah, talk to me.
Well, can you imagine being that kind of a real estate agent where you're in someone's speech? Everybody's going to want that real estate agent to be their agent. I mean, if you're going to give that kind of customer service.
Right. And with the way the market is right now, the way, it's kind of shifting and people are confused and scared and don't really know what's going on or what's going to happen. That kind of customer service you have to trust somebody like that. It's almost impossible not to. As long as you're it would just make you the agent of choice. If somebody just knows that, hey, this guy's out here, talking to all of his clients, he's right there. Anytime I have a question, they answer what I have. And not using like fear tactics, just being honest. I mean, that kind of stuff goes a long way. And they're going to talk to their friends about the experience that they had, and so on and so on. But yeah, it's a really good story because, like I said, Fred to me just didn't sound like, he was going really out of his way. You know what I mean? That was just Fred. And that's just kind of the way I understood it, the way I took it. It's kind of hard to believe that those people are out there sometimes, but they are. So yeah, anything else? I mean, what else did anybody else get from the video?
Connie, can I say some things?
Obviously, sure.
Okay. For most of you, and I know that there's not a whole lot on this call, but I wanted to finally, I'm back in the office. I've been pretty ill for 3 weeks, so it's nice to get to see some of you and some of
Glad
you.
you're back.
But here's what I do want to say to you. I have been in the business a long, long time, 46 years. And I have been through 17% interest rate, negative amortization loans, and the list goes on. What I want to say is do not be fearful of this market. This market is only getting back into more of a natural time frame. And there's still going to be, Oklahoma is still going to be selling houses. And yes, the rates have gone up a bit, but frankly, when you talk about 5.5 to 6% money, that's still good money. That is not high expensive money. And people are still having jobs. That's the beautiful thing, is that people are still employed. And so I appreciate the caution, but this is where we turn it on. This is where we pour in. This is where we work our centers of influence. This is where we call our people. This is where we stay in touch at the highest of levels. So I do know from people who've been in the last 24-month market, it's very, very different than what we're headed into. But believe it or not, we still get some multiple offers. However, I just want everybody to know that this is still a great real estate market. And we just have to not get fearful. I love the thing that he said, fear nothing but to waste the present moment. And we can't let fear determine our outcomes.
Exactly.
We have to push through. Does that make sense to anybody?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I actually did an ad not too long ago. I went back to the GTAR website and looked at the numbers from December of 2018, right before the COVID stuff started, and then compared them to what we are now. We're like 0.5% different. And I mean, it's really not that different. And like I said in the ad, I mean, with the Fed dropping the interest rates through COVID, just to keep from having, I mean, we're just now getting back to where we were. I mean, we're not even really high. I mean, we're just back to where we were before all the craziness started. So,
and the good news is, though, that through the pandemic and through what we went through, price points have increased. And I made this comment to anybody who will hear me, is that Oklahoma has been underpriced for so long. And these prices have brought us into a more realistic competitive market. Exactly. And that's okay, because people were selling their homes for much less in many ways than they should have been appraised at. And not that the appraisers were doing anything wrong. It's just that we had not had anything to wake us up to say our housing is worth more. So anyway, I just want people to know that it's really moving back in. Now, in other parts of the country, East Coast, West Coast gets it hardest because of their price ranges. They're so extremely expensive. But in Oklahoma, an average of 250 to 290,000 property value, people can afford that if they have good jobs. So anyway, I'll hush up, but I just hope that you will pass that word. And I know that Julie talks about that and what have you, but we don't need to run with fear. We need to run with purpose. Make sense?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm glad you're feeling better. And I really, and I do want to sit down with you and have like a little interview thing for Motivational Monday one of these days, like we talked about. I think that'd be really cool. Just to
okay, anytime. I'll be happy to share
cool.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Cool. Well, thank y'all for being here. If anybody has anything else.
What was the gentleman's name? I loved him.
I'll have to look it up. I'll send it to you though.
Okay, just text me.
Okay, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Y'all
I have a question for Sherry real quick, if she still has time.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, Miss Sherry. So at one point in time, we saw a lot of short sales come in, right? When people, but that the mortgages were being given at 100% loan to value. I mean, so they were already, in my opinion, upside down. And I can remember asking my broker at that time going, this is crazy. This will never sustain. If something happens, they're immediately upside down. I don't see us in that type of market anymore with the recession is what they call it, but I just don't see us in that market because we're still being very careful from a loan standpoint. Do you agree?
I do agree. And even though they may provide some type of 100% financing and certain special loans, I do believe that because the price point is up, and most people today, from what we're seeing, is that they're at least putting down 5 to 10% if they have that, and most are. And so I don't think that we're going to see most of the people, even those people who did not make payments for several months, their value went up enough that that can get paid off from what the lenders are telling me. So I think I agree with you, Sherry, that I don't believe that we're going to see foreclosure as much as possibly in other parts of the country because the value has overcome if they've held off those payments for a few months. Donna, would you agree with that statement?
Yes, and we're not like that. Back in, what was it, 04 to 08, they were doing those 104% loans.
Right.
So that everybody could roll in their interest rate. But most people can. It's just the ones that I'm seeing go through foreclosure that I look at over here in Rogers County, it's people that do not want to take the step to hire a realtor. They're just holding out and seeing how long they can stay.
For free.
For free. That's right. So if anybody reaches out, then yeah, it looks like they can usually get things taken care of.
Yeah. And they should be selling, but they do need the assistance of a realtor. And there's so many different people on TV that I'll buy it direct. But what people don't understand is that often that's a 25 to 30% discount on that value.
Oh, 40. I've seen 40s.
Say 40, yeah.
40s.
So, anyway, but so I just think that we're going to be in a very, even in 2008, ladies and gentlemen, this company still made a little bit of money and you made money. So just pour in, just do your business and do a lot of it.
Yeah.
Make those calls, go visit, see people.
That guy's name was Mark Sanborn.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Sanborn. So
His father was a very popular speaker.
Yeah. So
if I remember correctly. Well, thank you for letting me join you.
all these anytime. Thank y'all for being here. If anybody else has anything, then I'll let you all go. Have a great Monday and a great week.
Let me make this announcement. It's the word should be coming out, but we are going to be having our all city meeting, and that is going to be August the 9th, and it's going to be the roundtables. We're going to have several tables of different speakers, and you can rotate around. You have like 20 minutes to be at a table, but you get to pick the topics you want. And you won't be able to hit all of them. There'll be about 10 to 12 tables. And we're having people that will be speaking on certain topics around the room.
I went to the last time we did that. It was really cool. There's a lot of good topics.
And by popular request, it's coming back.
Cool. And that's going to be at Utah, right?
No, we're going to go to Glenpool.
Oh, Glenpool.
Glenpool's much, much better. And we can spread out more.
It's fun. If you haven't been, go.
Yeah, it is really cool. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different topics. You can pick whatever. I mean, I had like 2 or 3 topics that had no correlation at all, but there's a lot of good information. So yeah. And in fact, there'll be a commercial table. There will be a how to handle the multiple offer table. There'll be a variety. So I think that people will have plenty of choices. Yeah.
Miss Sherry, do we need to register for that?
No, it is first come. I mean, it's just our all city. It's just us. Just us.
Just us. Thank you.
Okay. We'll see y'all there.
Have a great week and I will see y'all later.
Bye, thank you.
Bye guys. Mhm.